Welcome back to the garage. So I'm going to be doing something a little bit different today. I'm going to be making a new series which I'm going to call Reforged. And what I'm going to be doing in this series is I'm going to take old knives that I made when I was new and sucked, and I'm going to make them again with the idea of what I originally wanted them to be. So basically, old knives that suck, I'm going to make new knives that are awesome, that are in the spirit of my plan when I made that knife. So the first one we're going to be doing is this guy. This was my work knife for about a year. I made this is probably my fourth knife. We're not going to do my very first few knives because they had heat treat problems and were awful, but this was one of the first ones that was like, adequate. So this was my work knife for a while. I mean, I still like it, it works fine. This has cut a lot of drywall and insulation and channels and wood and stuff like that. But it has a few issues. The taper is crooked. The knife sort of bends over this way. The bevel line doesn't really exist, and I ended up just doing a flat grind, but that wasn't the plan. The handle's not as curvy as I wanted it to be. This was before I had small wheel attachments for the grinder, so this channel here is kind of chewed up because I just had to go this way against the flat platen. The heat treat was fine, but sort of questionable. I think it ended up being like a purple temper when it's not supposed to be, but it was fine. It worked, it worked, it was strong. The biggest thing though is this was originally going to be a brute to forge knife, and it was going to have fire texture, and it was going to be a lot curvier. I made this when I was first learning bladesmithing, and I was watching a lot of Jason Knight stuff, so it had like the raised clip that I didn't know you were supposed to sharpen, or at least put a bevel on when I did that. And it's very inspired by his work, so shout out to the famous bladesmith who makes money. Anyway, we're going to be making this knife again in the spirit of my original plan. So let's light the forge and get to it. Here you can see one of my favorite parts of bladesmithing, which is just how awful the handle looks before it's shaped. You set it up for a day, putting everything where it needs to be and flattening everything, and you glue it on and it looks awful, and then you just shape it, and then in like an hour it's awesome. And if you've gotten this far into the video, think about leaving a like or a subscribe, or don't. I'm not your dad.